We're coming to a spot that may make your hair stand on end, but I just want to go through this with you as you make the decisions of where you're going to put your thread as you wind your merry way around. You can see we've got this little spot in here. That's awkward. So just take into account this is going to eventually have a needle on it and go down through the linen. So I'm going to choose now where I'm going to place its descent down to underneath, and I'm going to put it down in that corner right there. So I'm going to take that into account now and pretend that it's there. I could cut the thread, this long thread, but as I've said, I just avoid cutting it. So what I'm going to do is do another switchback turn. And if you do end up with little black spots at the end of parts that you have missed, just pretend there's a couching stitch there. Just fill them in with a little stitch of cotton. So, sorry, you probably can't see that. So I'm pinching that down, and now I'm going to come straight back around. And I'll show you how this works out. Very awkward angle to stitch on. Okay, so we've got this switchback turn. You can see these threads are trying to separate because I've handled them a bit. Okay, crushing down. And so when I come to put this thread under, it's going to fill this gap in here. So you will be faced with little decisions of what you want to do. My advice is crush it where you need to. Switchback turns are great, and avoid cutting like the plague. Sorry, that's probably in poor taste, seeing as we're doing medieval embroidery. If you've got a little pucker in your thread, you can always pull it gently, get it sitting flush. And fill in gaps with couching stitches if you need to, pretend couching stitches. Okay, I'll meet you at the next obstacle. I've just come to another tight spot that I want to show you, which I'm up in this corner at the moment, and I've just got room for one thread to come back down. So I'm going to do another very tight switchback turn. So I'm coming up close to this thread here. Come up close to that one, and I'm just going to snatch that down. So while pulling firmly on, well, not too firmly, but pulling relatively firmly on the gold thread, I'm going to make sure that that little couching stitch is quite firm too, until it's sitting just so. And at this point, just put the stitches where you need them. To make this a nice, a nice flow. Putting your finger or fingernail on the stitch to hold it taut while you're pulling it down can help. And just getting it all to lay can help to make it all lay flat and nicely. Just continue the flow as much as you can, even though it might be tempting at this point up here to head, you know, from this point here to head back up there and down. Try not to do that. Just try to do laps as much as you can. And the other thing to consider is, remember in this stitching down here, we staggered the little stitch, the little couching stitch. I'm trying to do the same as much as possible here as well. So where I've got a stitch there and there, I'm going to try and place my next stitch in between them. It's not always possible. What comes first is laying that gold down nice and firm. So sometimes they do double up. So just try and stagger them as much as possible where you can. I'll just finish this little stitch. So you can see that that is resting between those two stitches. Okay.